Are y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would love to have you. And shout out to Bumblefoot for that badass intro music. I always appreciate that. You guys please follow us on our social media sites. On Twitter, it's Spaced Out Radio. On Instagram, it's Spaced Out Radio Show. And on TikTok, at Space Out Radio. You guys can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com. All of my shows are posted there. I have a fantastic YouTube channel myself. That's the Cryptid Huntress. And shout out to all of my members. I have a new membership thing over there. I just call it the thing. And so I want to give a huge shout out to all my members. I also have a Patreon. Shout out to my Patreon members too, y'all. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. So if you'd like to join any of that to support what I'm doing, including my Etsy shop too, that's War Woman Goods over on Etsy. Y'all do that, and it means the world to me. Also, we have a Patreon here with Spaced Out Radio. It's called the Space Travelers Club. So you guys check that out, and be sure to join us in Reno, Nevada. That is, I think it's May 10th through the 12th in Reno. We're going to have the Spaced Out Radio fan party, and we'll have a VIP party, and we're going to have swag bags. We're going to be broadcasting live. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Some of the biggest, best names in the UFO community and the cryptid community will be there, along with myself. I'll be there. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see you guys. Okay. So don't forget that right after this show, After Hours has a fantastic show set up with our friend Dennis Carroll on the show tonight. So please, I know it's hard for me to stay up late, but listen, my kids, on winter break this week, so I might stay up late tonight. All right. Okay. Well, let's get to our show because I have the birthday boy himself here tonight. I have Long Island Bigfoot in the studio tonight, and we have a lot to talk about. We got some catching up to do tonight. And yeah, Mike and I are good friends. We've actually gone Bigfooting together up in New York. So let's get to it, shall we? Okay, Long Island Bigfoot Mike grew up in Long Island, New York, and was always intrigued by the wildlife, oceanic creatures, and dinosaurs. These interests were the foundation which propelled Mike's research and curiosity for cryptids later in life. With a fascination for whales and the Lochness Monster, he would frequently ask his family to visit Scotland to search for Nessie. Between 2007 and 2011, Mike served in the Army and spent a year in Afghanistan. While the impact of what he experienced is something he works on healing every day, searching for Bigfoot brings Mike peace and relief from the effects of PTSD. Walking through a primary stretch of forest paramount to his research known as Bubba's house, he became familiar with the surroundings for 5 years before he began documenting the activity. Mike has also observed other entities and anomalies in the woods of Long Island and the Catskill Mountains. He enjoys and has much respect for being put in the position of Sasquatch to connect our peoples together. And man, he is a powerhouse when it comes to boots on the ground field research. And so please help me welcome to the show tonight and wish him a very happy birthday with me, shall we, you guys? Mike from Long Island Bigfoot. What's up, Mike? Good evening.
That was a super intro right there.
Well, you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it, Mike. Thank you so much for being here. We got some catching up to do tonight.
Yeah, my birthday was yesterday, but I appreciate that too. Thank you.
It's belated. Well, I hadn't seen you, so I had to say it. I'm not gonna sing. Okay, I'm gonna save everybody's ears from bleeding tonight. But yeah, happy birthday. How's it feel? How's it feel to be another year older?
just as many responsibilities as there was yesterday, right?
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, hey, okay, so you are one of the, I'm going to say you're one of the top 3 people I know that's like hardcore boots on the ground field research when it comes to Sasquatch and Dogman and all these other crazy cryptids we got running around out in the field. So give me an update on what you've been up to out in the field.
It's I don't know, it's just what I do, right? Like I guess I wouldn't categorize myself as a researcher anymore. Like I got so far away from like worrying about like proof and like you know how that pool goes, right? Like the data, like you talk about data all the time, and like it becomes a tough thing to do, right? Like it really does. It becomes a tough thing to share evidence and all that stuff. So I kind of just put out there what I do. I like to document everything. If anyone's ever been to my channel, you see how many videos are there. I think there's over 2,500 now, just on YouTube alone. So I mean, I document a lot. You know, it's not necessarily like a highlight reel. You know what I mean? It's like I just go through everything and bring everybody along with me and try to make it interactive and inclusive, so that way everyone feels like they're part of the outing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You bring the field into everybody's living rooms, okay? or
Yeah,
or on their cell phones. Yeah. I absolutely love that because listen, doing field research is not a glamorous task. Okay, it's not super glamorous, but it's super exciting. Even when you're
if you
out there
don't
just with all the deer and stuff, you know.
if you don't love it, it won't love you back, right? Because like you get beat up doing it. Like you get it's freezing or it's really hot or like it's raining or you know you twist an ankle, you cut your legs on thorns all day, you know, you get tick bites, you get mosquito bites, whatever, you know, whatever the case may be. So like if you don't love being out there, then you know it's like I always say, it won't love you back. So it's not for everybody, but I truly enjoy it. You know, I've been going to these private properties lately, which has really become a lot of fun for me because I don't have to worry about anybody else being out there. I don't have to question who is there, or if I hear something or see something, I don't have to worry about, oh, there's somebody else out there. Like there's nobody for many, 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 many miles. So uh, I don't know. That's been a lot different for me. You know, it's a nice change. Now, mind you, I have to do I have to do drives to get to these places and go and visit with these people. But yeah, Elena was here. She came from the UK. She spent. We went to Camp Hero. We met Montauk Strange Brian out there. So we did an expedition out there. Then we went up to the Catskills. I think I took her up there twice, two different areas, and tried to maximize on her trip and go to as many places as we could, you know. But she knows one of the private properties I'm talking about, and it's amazing. At night, it just gets pitch black. There's nothing out there. It's surrounded by three really, really big farms. It's this tiny cabin. It's not even a one-bedroom cabin. It's like 2 rooms. You know what I mean? That's it. It's 2 rooms, and that's it. You know, there's nothing around except farmland. So it's really amazing. And we captured some really good audio out there too, which was cool. Yeah, like screaming, like deep guttural, like, ah, you know, and then it set off the coyotes, which I guess is typical. I don't have enough experience with audio to say for sure, but it's from what I hear, it's typical that they set off coyotes.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Happy birthday wishes. I'm on my phone tonight, so it's a little small. But.
Yes. Well, I'm going to pull up as many comments as I can. They're going really fast tonight. Once again, we have a nice crowd here tonight. So
go fast for you too.
Yeah. Okay. So you're actually so you're in the Catskill. You go into the Catskill Mountains and do some of your research. I was talking to Charles last night. Okay, and he's with Catskill Mountains Bigfoot, I think is the name of his Facebook group, and he's another super dedicated boots on the ground field researcher from up in New York, and we've been in communication for past at least a year, maybe 2 years. It's been a long time, and I finally talked to him, and he's coming on the show soon. Okay, he's coming on the show, but he was kind of schooling me on, and it was in a good way, on this Catskill Mountains last night, and telling me a lot of really cool stuff. Now, so you guys not only have Bigfoots up there, but you've got little people reports and history of little people. Okay, tell me about that.
Well, like Puckwudgies is like one thing that I know about. I'm sure he could tell you more better, right? Like I have not been up there for that long. I have a team up there, and they look at me like I'm the guy who knows everything, but in reality, I'm not, because they've lived there so long, you know what I mean? And they're all light workers in their own way. Like every one of the dozen of them, and it's growing. I think it's at like 15, 16 now, and it just keeps expanding through um people just being like, "Oh, I'll go out and try that out," and like then next thing you know, it's like, boom, they're just so involved in it because they love it. But the endless amount of stuff up there is insane. So the best way I go about it is I started just going willy nilly into areas, and then I was having bad experiences or experiences that scared the shit out of me that I didn't know if I was going to make it out of. So I started to go to the local, whatever it was, whether it was a reservation, um, find a local like elder, tribesman, or I've sat with monks because like they're near Overlook Mountain, and the natives won't go near Overlook Mountain, but the monks use Overlook Mountain. So I had to find out what the situation was there, and it was due to a cryptid that has some messy energy. I don't like to say its name, but it's an upside down M. It starts with, and
Wait, you're not supposed to say the name of that? It's kind of like the skinwalker, but it's something
that's
different.
that's kind of the way I go about it. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I try not to speak them into existence. I guess it's maybe just saying the name is a little dramatic, but I try to just completely keep them off my radar. I've had too many close calls with ugly looking, scary looking stuff that I don't wish to see again. The stuff that's made of nightmares, like um yeah,
Okay. Wait, can I just interject really quick? Okay.
please.
Because I had just got invited with my crew, Cryptid Warfare. Okay, those guys that I went up to Tennessee with, they're planning a trip. They invited me to be a part of their team. Coming up, I'm not going to say exactly when, but it's coming up this year. We're going to be going to somewhere near where you live, actually, to go on a hunt for those things. And it starts with a W. If you guys don't know, can I say it? I'm going to say it.
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
I better go ahead. It's a Wendigo. Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking about? Yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna go. The Cryptid Huntress is gonna go on a Wendigo hunt.
I mean, just be careful. Are you going
I
into
don't know
the
anything about
triangle?
Wendigos
Are
yet.
you, are you going to the triangle?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. The guys have a plan, so I just got. We just talked about it this week, so we'll find out.
Well,
You will be hearing about it.
they just found. So we were just talking about it before the show. I wanted to get out and go away and do my next thing, and I was really trying to push for it because plans fell through. I was supposed to do something with my son. I'm gonna shorten this whole story, so I was like, all right, let me make the best out of my time. Uh, I was like, they just found this forest in Cairo, New York, which is in the Catskills, and it's the oldest forest in the world. And they just found a fossil there stating that it's like 385 million years old, something to that effect. And I'm like, I'm all ears, right? I just want to beeline for this place. I want to feel the energy. I want to see what it's like. I want to look at it. I want to put my hands on it. You know what I mean? I want to put my boots on the ground, for lack of better words.
Okay.
And so I'm searching the area, and what pops up? This other place I've been looking into for a long, long time, which is the Catskill Game Farm. It's abandoned, but you can stay there. They have a couple of tenter sites, and then they have a couple of rooms as well where you can stay inside the zoo, basically the giraffes used to stay or where the rhinos used to stay. They've transformed them into, an elephant room, a rhino room, a zebra room, whatever. So where that, where and everything's still there. All the enclosures are still there. There's like 25 miles of like paved walkways, and there's like hundreds of acres of woods around it and stuff. So it in itself, it's said to be haunted, right? That's what people say. Everything's haunted, haunted, haunted. And if something goes bump in the night, it's haunted, right? We know that there's more to it than that it could be. Sure, it could be haunted, it could be a spirit, but what if it's What if it's something else, right? Like, what if it's something else? That's what I want to find out. One way or another, I want to go there and experience it, So, I was trying to do a double header,
Yeah.
but family issues have pulled me back. So,
Okay. Well, there's so many cryptids up there. It's ridiculous. And I've heard you speak several times about Dogman. You've actually been on my show. We've talked about your Dogman sightings, and you've been on Vic Cundiff's show. Shout out to Vic with Dogman Encounters. I love that guy. Okay, and it's always entertaining to hear you guys together on that show talking. So you just
yeah,
told me the other day. Now, can we kind of skip from Dogman real quick to something that you had mentioned about a report that you got about something in a lake? Do you want to talk about that?
sure, yeah,
Okay, let's talk about that.
yeah. Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you tell. Okay, so I
Okay.
guess I'll start off the conversation here. Okay,
I
so
don't- basically, I was go ahead. You started.
okay, so this week I did a show where I had been given a blind remote viewing target of Pyramid Lake in Nevada. And Pyramid Lake is allegedly a cursed lake, and people that I know personally, they don't get in the water at all. They never
Right.
have, because it's they say there's a mermaid and something called water babies in this lake, and there's drownings every year, multiple drownings, and they say it's because of the water babies. And it's got a long story, like Native American legend and lore surround
Yep.
this place. And it's got ties, according to all that data that I was getting, it's another government tie. Okay, like secret programs, a submarine base, like a military warfare place is right there. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of history.
To think that there's a sub base in Nevada, like a landlocked state, is I don't know. That is mind blowing to me. So I'd imagine there's a lot to it. So, I'd love for you to remote view these two places. Lake Ronkonkoma is one of them. There's Montauk is Strange. I just had a conversation with him about this stuff because he's like our local historian as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Every time I go out with him, I learn something else, like I about where I live. You know what I mean, or where I am, or what I'm doing, and like. Anyways, so Lake Ronkonkoma, the story is similar to Romeo and Juliet about a Indian princess that loses her love. He tries to come across and he drowns, and whatever. She goes out there, and I don't know if she commits suicide or what she does exactly. I'd love to tell you, but my memory's failing me. But the local legend is that there's no, this lake has no like current, no nothing, right? It's like very easy, but nobody goes in it because men get killed every year. They get drowned, and like it's men of a certain age, right? Like young, like men in good shape, like whatever. And it's said that she's taking her prince like every year, like she's every time someone gets in that water, she's trying to take him. So that wasn't where we were going with it, but
It's similar though. That's
yeah,
so odd how, like, when you hear about a lake mermaid, the two stories that I know of now, there's only two stories that I'm real familiar with. It's like the same story,
yeah,
but in two different, like, one's in New York and one's in Nevada. So it's very similar. The story behind the lake mermaid in Nevada is that there was a Paiute Indian, okay, Native American, that had fallen in love with the mermaid that lived in the lake. And
that's
he
cool.
introduced her to his tribe, and they said, heck to the no. Get her out of here. She's a mermaid. That's bad news. Do not bring her around. And so it was forbidden love. And
Yeah,
so she was very spiteful. She became spiteful. And yeah,
that's,
and so yeah,
that's cool.
she started drowning people that would get into the lake and stuff. So
Some of the sirens, I think they're called. They're said to be a little rough around the edges, but I mean, I don't know a lot. Anyway, this wasn't a mermaid there. Anyway, that was just a woman who drowned, and so did the guy. So anyway, let's get into the mermaid. So a friend of mine, boat captain, knew him from high school. Um, saw me on Paranormal caught on camera, and was just like, he rang my phone. I haven't talked to him in many years, and was just like, dude, like, I've been hanging on to this shit, and I don't know who to talk to. I brought it up to a couple of guys. They laughed me under the table forever. Like, I can't even, I can't even go near them without them, being like, look, it's a mermaid. Just ragging on him. So when he see me on there, he was like, I feel like I could finally open up to somebody. Like, would you listen to me? And I'm like, yeah. So he even gave me the location, and I'll say it here now because I've actually done videos on it now. But it's in a weird place, like you might not expect it, right? But it's called Pirates Cove, and it's not far from my house. It was only like a 15-minute drive to the beach or whatever, and it's really hard to find by land. You have to go do a lot of different things to get there by land, but by boat, it's this cove, and it's really special. Like, you could tell when you get there how special it is. And it's like an inlet that a lot of the ferries come in and out of and stuff, and it's a big port for the most part. But this small cove area is just amazing. So I guess they were in there resting or whatever. They came in. They didn't want to put the boat. They didn't want to put the boat, dock it, and get off and go home. So they pulled in there and just threw anchor. And he was, he saw it. He was the only one that saw it. But so I went in there, and I did him justice. I said I'd go and check it out, and like, I didn't expect much, but the vibe is crazy. Like, it just, there's so many fish jumping. She's been there too. I took her there too. So, like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, you could look it up or look up my video or whatever, but those videos for like places that don't seem real that people do, like they use this place. Like, they use that cove.
Wow. Yeah, mermaids love coves apparently. And another, okay, so there are other reports of mermaids too in the lakes and in the fresh waters across the US. Now, the other two stories that I know of that I've heard of, and there's some people in the chat saying that they've heard of stories of mermaids in the lakes as well. Now we have I think it's the Lake Michigan mermaid, okay, up at the Great Lakes. And there's also lake mermaids in North Carolina. Okay. But of course, North Carolina sits on the coast, so it's probably like in the rivers that run into the oceans and things like that. But that's funny. Got to dump sardines live bait before swimming. No, you know what? I actually look at lakes a lot differently now, Mike. When I go swimming and boating here in Georgia, we have a cursed lake, and it's called Lake Lanier, and it's a man-made lake. Okay, it's a man-made lake, but like multiple people go missing in that lake every year. They drown. Sometimes their bodies are never found.
Well, like there's a place that I go to, and it's a lake, and it's a Bigfoot hotspot, and it's not because there's a lack of source of water sources or this is a special spot. It's really gorgeous, right? Gorgeous. And it's very untapped. And all of a sudden, 2 years, 3 years ago, whatever it was, they started bringing in all these big, heavy equipment, and they're tearing stuff up to put some like large, you could tell they're building like a large, maybe like welcome place, you know what I mean? So that they can like put a parking lot and and like really start to bring people to this secluded place. And it really sucks watching it. But the Bigfoot activity reportedly has picked up, and there's a lot of screaming, and things are going on, like similar to what you hear about the like logging people getting attacked and stuff, or like getting I don't know, screamed at or rocks thrown, or it seems like it's something like that. Like the Sasquatch are pissed off that they are just destroying this place.
Yeah. Look, Prince Arcane. Hey, Prince Arcane says, his buddy seen a mermaid in Charleston, South Carolina water. Wow. I don't doubt that one bit. South Carolina has some interesting cryptids, actually. They've got the lizard man of Scape Ore Swamp up there. I say up there. I'm down here in Georgia. So, yeah, lizard man. They have pterosaur sightings. There's a lot of Bigfoot. My friend Terry Wendell has a team called Rock Hill Bigfoot out of South Carolina, and he has some serious Bigfoot stories where he was actually laying in his tent one night, investigating a property all by himself, and a Bigfoot came up and poked its finger through the tent and poked his body with his finger. And yeah, pretty scary. That's why I always put my cot inside the tent, really like in the middle, so nothing can grab me. Okay. You gotta take precautions out there when you're out in the field.
Yeah. Lift that damn tent up and run with you.
Well, no, that's the hammock. That's why you don't want to be in the hammock, because that's the Bigfoot burrito. Okay, no hammocks. No hammock. No hammock. Yeah. I mean, you should know that, Mike. No hammock camping for me. Well, you probably get in a hammock yourself. I don't know.
Just slap you and then jump up and down while you swing around.
You just twist it up and throw it. Well, you know, there was a story of a gentleman, Albert Osman was his name, out of Canada. I think it was around Alberta, where Dave Scott's from, around that area here at Spaced Out Radio. He was kidnapped by a Sasquatch and taken back to a cave, and I mean, he was there for like a week or something, from what I can recall. But he was actually snatched up in his sleeping bag, kind of tied up and slung over the shoulder of a Bigfoot. He woke up riding on the back of a Bigfoot in a sleeping bag.
Oh,
yeah.
There was somebody just dropped in my Discord. I forget who it is. I won't say even if I remember. So, that there was a 2 or 3 year old boy or something that he got lost, and they looked everywhere for him, and they checked these areas, and then they found him there 2 days later in the areas that they had been checking. And what the boys said was, I spent the time with a bear. I was with a bear, you know. Mm-hmm. And you already know what I think. I don't think it was a bear, but you know.
No, there's actually a lot of stories of that where kids went missing, and there was just a comment in here about the lakes being cursed, and a lot of missing people like clusters of missing people, like with the David Paulides Missing 411 series, where he's documented the clusters of missing people. And so, yeah,
remember Lake Montauk was. Yeah. I had never heard of anything about it, right? And then we went with certain people, and they had certain information about it, right? And it makes you wonder. Like, in my mind, it makes me wonder: is it a lake monster of some sort? Is it native lore? Is it something from Camp Hero, where Montauk Project? Is it maybe something in between? You know, somebody put it on there to protect themselves from something else, right? The Rough Riders are all over that place too. Teddy Roosevelt and them. His cavalry has so much history out there. I got to do something on that one day too. It's insane how much is going on out there. Like
a lot of history.
A history.
Yeah. A lot of history. Jennifer Patterson, thank you so much for that super sticker. We appreciate that so much. Thank you for your support. We have another great comment here too. Prince Arcane has another good comment. Y'all all have good comments tonight, everybody. Lake Lanier was created by destroying a black town called Oscarville. Well, yes, and there were a lot of towns that were destroyed over that lake, and so it leads us to wonder, like, with all of these homes, the churches, the graveyards, the towns that were taken out by a lot of these lakes, especially down here in the South. Is that what is making these lakes cursed? Or are people, when a whole town is flooded, just like in that movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Right? I love that movie. I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's one of my favorites. Okay. But they flood out these towns. I mean, there's still trees and steeples to churches and homes. I mean, it's a lot when people dive into those lakes, they don't know what they're diving into. And a lot of times they could hit a tree under that water, you know, so it could lead. Oh, and also I do have to note this. I have been doing some research on ancient Egypt, and we got Gerald and Jane in the chat tonight with Midwest Night Watchers. We did a show on ancient Egypt settlements in the United States, and some of those settlements being covered up by man-made lakes in
There,
Tennessee.
sure. There's ones upstate in the mountains I could show. I could show people. Like you could tell that they've been cut off and dumped. Things have been dumped back on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
The dirt's been dumped back up there, and nature starts to take it back. But if you really look at the range, you could see the natural range, and then there's literally like a cut mark, a perfect quarry, slice, and it's insane. You can't do it justice on camera. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, lakes make sense too.
Millie has an interesting comment here. I read an article a few months ago about a bull shark making it all the way up to Lake Michigan. Yeah. Okay. So this is really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because when we're talking about these lake mermaids, that I just did a show on this past week. When I was remote viewing that lake, I'm seeing all these caverns and caves and stuff underneath. I was obviously on the bottom of a lake. Okay. When I was remote viewing this. These are blind targets. So, I mean, I thought I was like remote viewing a catfish or something, because it was weird. What it turns out, after doing some research after the show, there are tunnels. Okay. There are actual tunnels that go underneath, like this lake. Lake Pyramid is part of a gigantic lake that covered all of Nevada and a lot of the land out west. And now there's like a whole bunch of lakes that are not really connected anymore, but on the up where you can see it, but underneath they're connected by tunnel systems and stuff. So, I mean, and they say that sometimes people will go missing out of this lake at Pyramid Lake, and they'll end up 60 miles upriver or down. There's not even a river in Lake Tahoe.
Sure. I mean, and another thing about bull sharks is 5 years ago they were saltwater only, right? That's what they are. They're saltwater animals. Strictly, science says it, right? And then boom, here they come up fresh rivers. Like, screw it, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go kill up this way, right? And you know what I mean, right? Like, there's just, it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yes. Well, okay. Another thing that you guys have up in the Catskills, which I was talking with Charles about last night, were these little people. Have you ever come across? You said puckwudgies. Have you ever seen a puckwudgie?
I think so. I think so. I think so. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't say for sure. It was like this little brown head with and it very similar to what they're supposed to look like. Kind of like I don't know, like an upright porcupine of some sort almost. But anyway, it was it looked like a tiny like a 1 foot Sasquatch with spikes on its back and the head, and but anyway, it was peering out. I wasn't expecting it at all. I went to this campground in Catskill Wilderness, and I didn't know it was a campground. So I'm trying to find. I've been going to Catskill Falls for a while, but I didn't know there was a whole park behind it. If you keep going. So I get in there and it's huge, and I'm like, holy shit, it's insane. So I'm driving and I'm trying to find where I'm supposed to go. I'm trying to find these different ledges, and I want to find a trail that takes me to an overlook. And I want to go up there and do some stuff, some drumming, some meditating, some gifting, whatever. Anyway, long story short, I kept bumping into these campsites on the way, and I'm like, and there's people. There was a lot of people for the end of the season. And so I was pretty distracted by all that. So I literally parked my truck to get out to go talk to someone about where I needed to go. I'm like, hey, does anybody know which way I'm supposed to go? I want to get somewhere, and I'm just lost. So as I'm doing that, I'm kind of peeping out some of the campsites, and they're all backed by a lot of forest. I mean, huge acreage, and there was this huge rock, and it just kind of went up. And I have video of it. I mean, I whipped out my camera, but I just never post. I don't post everything, And something came and just beep, came out from behind that thing and was staring at me good and long. And you could see it had those big, typical black eyes that a big, Sasquatch has and everything. But it was tiny. It was just tiny, and that was it. It was a quick interaction. I wasn't really sure if I was looking at it. I had enough time to document it. and I kind of went on about my business. So
Yeah. Oh
but
man. Okay. Well, that's cool. And that's one thing. Like we're not always putting all the evidence out there and all that kind of stuff, but you do put a good bit. Like you do document your adventures pretty well. So okay. I had a conversation last week, okay, about Bigfoot. Okay, we had Mike Familant on the show with in the shadow of Big Red Eye. Mike is awesome. There's so many Mikes, by the way. Oh my gosh, you're LIB to me, okay? But this Mike, he was our guest last Sunday, and we got into the discussion about the illuminating eyes and the self-illuminating eyes. What do you think about their eyes when they glow? Do you think they're self-illuminating, or is that
they
a
are.
reflection?
Well,
Okay.
because they're like Elaine will tell you too. Like when she was telling me what she saw behind the in the back acreage behind the cabin, she's like, I was staring at this and I just started getting all giddy and smiling, and I felt really happy, and like I was like, what are you? I came out. I'm like, what are you doing out there? And like she's standing like in the curtain. I hope she doesn't mind, but I'm like, what are you doing back there? And she's like, come here. Like she's like, oh man. She's like, I was looking at these eyes, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no way. She's like, yeah, there was eye shine. I'm like, there's no light outside at all. And like, I'm like, so it wasn't eye shine, it was eye glow. I'm like, so whatever you were looking at was, yeah, like self-illuminating its eye shine. Like it was making its orange or red eyes, right? So like, I've seen it too, where it's gone like, it's just completely dark outside. There's no lights, and all of a sudden, just it almost looks like somebody's powering up a light. So I mean, there is eye shine, obviously, right? A lot of animals, a lot of different things. I think a lot of them, maybe even the Sasquatch, have that reflective lens. But I do think they are able to self-illuminate, and that's just me. I mean, a couple of little baby humble experiences.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it myself, and so has Susan's in the chat tonight. Susan's one of my teammates, and she's had at least one rude awakening by a Bigfoot at her tent one night when we were out there. I was out there with her, okay, out in the woods. Now we have seen them with their self-illuminating eyes, and that's something that is hard to explain, scientifically, because no other animal really does that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not calling Sasquatch animals, okay, y'all, but
that's
nothing else does that.
I mean, technically, we're animals, right? Like, I mean, so
we're an animal. Yeah. Some of us are animals. Just kidding. Depends. It depends. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so I think somebody was also asking in the chat just now, and I think it was Susan, by the way. Susan was asking about how did the ancient Egyptians get to North America? Okay, I just did a show. I've done a couple of shows on this, and I do believe that the ancient Egyptians, there have been settlements found in the Grand Canyon, in Illinois, Ohio, all over the place. There's all sorts of ancient Egyptian stuff. So there wasn't an actual ancient Egyptian settlement that was covered up by Lake Norris in Tennessee. So y'all do your research. I've talked about it on shows before. And the local college and the Chamber of Commerce and all the local government agreed that it could be covered up by the man-made lake, which is now Lake Norris. Okay, so if you're wondering why these lakes might be cursed, okay, I don't know. It might answer that. It's like, on Poltergeist, with that movie, it's like, well, Carol Ann, I think their house was built on a burial ground, right? So
I mean, yeah. Sometimes, it doesn't even have to be a burial ground to piss them off. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It can literally be like the most ancient tree in the forest that everything circles around. Somebody cut it down to put their house there. You know what I mean? So like, there's so many things. You know what I mean, obviously.
Yes, we have a question in the audience from Mogwai, my favorite little Pukwudgie from Gremlins. What is the strangest evidence that Mike has found while researching?
Oh, that's a good question.
He's a smart little critter, this guy.
Strangest, huh? Man, I don't know. I don't know about strangest. I'd say maybe they're that when they gift me, you know what I mean? How amazing it is, and how they're able to do it. Things like that. Show their presence by gifting without anybody, including myself, knowing they're around.
What about, okay, I hate talking about kill sites and things like that, but like places where there have been the carcasses of dead animals found. Have you found anything unusual? I mean, I've seen some weird stuff. Like some people have sent me some pictures of like coyotes that have been twisted around, and because I know you're investigating areas that have dogmen
Yeah,
and Sasquatch, and the dogmen like to do weird stuff with the
yeah.
carcasses after they eat them.
Well, I do get a lot of reports. Something's been putting things up in a tree. So all right, so here's something I had to learn about though, right? But it doesn't apply here on Long Island at least, but it might up in the mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but once I found, anyway, I think I walked up on a kill once because there was a dead deer, and he was healthy. He was really, really healthy, and there was no signs of anything, no broken legs, no broken neck. I mean, I'm not like I'm just an average ass dude. Like, I don't know for sure. I'm not like a coroner. I don't know. Maybe it was something was broken somewhere, but it just looked like the thing was totally healthy, and maybe like somebody clean clocked it and knocked it out or something. But it was dead, and I got the hell out of there. I didn't want to do any more looking around, and that was it. So anyway, what I just looked into recently was that there's these big cats who like mountain lions, right? And they have wolf packs around, and the wolf packs will come up on the cat's kill and compete for it, right? And the cat can't really compete for it. So what it's doing is, even people who are following them, who might be tracking them, they're leaving kills. So they'll kill something and leave it, and then they'll kill something else and leave it. And they're doing that in order to leave it for other predators or other people, like even hunters. They're leaving them kills. So they might, big cat seeing hunters and leaving them a kill, hoping it doesn't follow them. Seeing the wolves or smelling the wolves and leaving them a kill, hoping it doesn't follow that cat when it goes and wants to be in peace with its final kill that it wants to eat and relax with for a few days. So I think that's pretty amazing that these big cats have learned to adapt to feed the wolves and feed the humans, like, and whatever else.
To appease the humans in some way. Yeah.
An illusion. So imagine what a Sasquatch and a Dogman is doing. You know what I mean? Maybe if there's hunters in the area or something, they might drive deer right at them so those people leave or something. You know what I mean? We really just don't know what goes on right outside the fringe.
Yeah, we really don't know. But hey, we're kind of learning. You're out there a lot, and I'm out there a lot. We're learning. I don't know if we'll ever know fully, but yeah, it could be super dangerous out there when they're out. I mean, do you think that the Sasquatch have something to do with some of these missing people clusters or missing persons clusters up there?
No. I mean, no, I don't. But again, I don't know every Sasquatch. I don't know every area. I don't know every family of them or every group of them. I don't know how they act in every place. I've only covered a small area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of 100, 200 miles or whatever it is, up from Adirondacks down to here, right? And a little bit outside, but Alaska, right? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. Oregon, I have no idea. Canada, I don't have a clue. So I'm not going to sit here and say, but from my experience, I don't think they have anything to do with it. But I've been locked into one of those spaces where I couldn't get out of before. I don't know if I've told you that, but I had to jump in the water to get out of it. Like, every which way, everywhere I walked, I was going the same way. If I turned around and I was seeing the same thing, I turned around, I was seeing the same thing. No matter which way I walked for 100 feet in any direction, I was stuck. Yeah, I was seeing the same thing and doing the same thing, and I could hear people, and I was screaming to them, and I think I was just stuck in that next dimension. It's the same exact thing or whatever, but I was like stuck there, and I I just decided to get down on my, I was screaming and crying, like I was frantically screaming for these people, and I could hear them talking regular across the lake. Sound carries right across that lake, so I was belting at the top of my lungs. So I knew I was screwed. So I dropped down and bagged up all my stuff as best I could. I tied that pack up like on top of my head. I knew I was going to sink like a log because the land just meets the water. So I did. I stepped out and I dropped down. I totally submerged. I don't know. It was murky as all hell. I popped back up. And as soon as I came up, it was like all the sounds of the world were back. Birds chirping, wind blowing, leaves rustling. Uh, you know, it like snapped the waters, snapped the whole situation. Whatever. I don't have an answer for it. I can just tell you what happened. I was just happy to get the hell out of there. And I was still panicked as all hell. I had to swim a mile or whatever it was across that lake, panting and like, anxiety attack is an understatement. Like an understatement. I was like, just gasping and like I'm a good swimmer, but I was so screwed up that I was just like doggy paddling and like gasping for air and trying to just get to the other side. There's no way in hell I was going back to the other, where I came from. So,
oh my! Well, at least you had an escape route, no matter how terrifying that was. I mean, was this at night? It was nighttime.
It was the only option. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was up in the mountains. Yeah, I was up in the mountains. It was the only option. And I was 8 miles in. So even if I wanted to get back out, it would have. I don't know. The long story short is I had no way out. I couldn't do anything. I guess that's what might happen in some cases to these people, right? Like they get in those situations. What if there is no water there? What if there is no way to break free? What if something comes and takes you when you're there and nobody can hear or see you? You know what I mean? And all your shit is still there, technically. I don't know. I mean, I don't. Again, I don't have any answers. Like, I just have
experience. Thank goodness you made it out of there. Okay, thank goodness, because there's a lot of people that are never seen again that are out in the woods, and so that's why. Listen, that's why I don't ever go out there by myself. But you're out there by yourself pretty often. I know you recently. You go out there you had Elena with you recently, and I've been out there with you, with Brian from Montauk is Strange, who's in the chat tonight. It's pretty dangerous to go out there alone. Do you tell people where you're going when you leave to go out there?
Sometimes, yeah. Most of the time, I even if it's you have to, right? Even if it's as simple as leaving. If you don't want to tell anybody out loud for whatever reason, maybe you think somebody's gonna like meet you there and screw it up or whatever. Like, leave a piece of paper on your table and say, "This is where I went today." You know what I mean? Because if you do go missing, that's the first thing people are gonna do is come to your place of residence to look for you, and then they'll see that's there. Okay. Oh, well, look at this. This is where he was. You know what I mean? And they can come directly to you. So, like, I'll do things like that at least. But usually I tell one person at least where I'm going. Yeah.
Just one. I know, just one. You do not want to become a statistic. Okay, you really don't. We have another question out of the chat tonight. Lakeside Laura. Hey, Laura. Any chance or any connection between Sasquatch and giants and the Nephilim? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think everything's connected in some way, some fashion, right? Like, are they? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I'm not like history kind of person, right? Like, I don't read books. I don't. Let's just put it this way. Like, I like to go out like a blank slate and kind of just wing it and learn. Like, just see what is going to be given to me. I don't like to dig up other stuff and like see where the answers are and try to like internet search or book search, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just not my style, right? And that's why I love people who do that stuff, because I'm not, right. We all like the opposite attracts thing, right? Like other people who do different stuff, like we're interested in it because we're not necessarily doing it.
Yes. Now, I can tell you, Laura, that, okay, so my take on that is a lot of times the giant stories, because there's a lot of stories from, let's just say the 1800s, the early 1900s. There's, okay, I'm going to say, for example, we have the giant attack in the Okefenokee Swamp of 1829 here in Georgia. And so a lot of people say that was a Bigfoot. Other people say it was a giant. Okay, some guys who had won a land lottery down in the Okefenokee Swamp in South Georgia had traveled into the swamp, just kind of seen. I guess they had packed for a few days. They were going to go see what was in that swamp. Okay, they had just won the land around that area in a lottery. They go on a little journey. They get in a few days deep into this place, and they found this gigantic, like 20-something inch footprint, a human footprint. And they freaked out. They went back home. They trucked it back through the swamp, went back, and the word spread that they had found that gigantic track, and they got scared because it was like a giant footprint. And so some hunters from Florida came up. They got a hunting party together. They went back into the swamp, and 5 of those men ended up getting mauled to death by this giant. Okay. But the story is that, a lot of people said it was Sasquatch in this swamp. Well, it is well known now. I've been told that now it's well known by people who live down there that there was a race of giants that live in that swamp. Giant humans. Okay, so I think that throughout history, some of the stories that we hear about the giants could have been mistaken as Sasquatch, or Sasquatch as giants. I think there's just they get confused. It's almost like they're misidentified or something, or they just kind of get, I don't think there's an actual DNA connection to them, but I don't know. Could be.
Squatch is what we know about, right? So, like, I think a lot of times when people see anything or anything weird happens, like, that's what they say it is. Now it's Dogman too, like, oh, it's Sasquatch or it's Dogman. You hear hooves, you think horses, not zebras, right? But like, it doesn't mean that there's not other shit out there that's tearing things up or terrorizing campers, or leaving scratches on your car, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You guys, we got some jokes in the chat tonight. We got alien jokes. I'll pull one or two up here because it's pretty good. Is that Derek? Oh my gosh, that's funny. What did the alien think of the anti-gravity book? He couldn't put it down. Didn't Dutch? Oh my gosh, you guys, this has been a lot of fun tonight, Mike. Okay, I'm trying to think. We've got like a couple of minutes left tonight. What do you have on your calendar right now? Are you still going out in the field every single day? Or, I mean, I know it's been snowing up there in New York lately. What do you have on your calendar here in the next few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I've slowed down a little bit. I've been doing a lot, but I haven't been posting at all. Let's just say that. I've slowed down a little bit with that. I'm trying to learn how to take things like together and post them together instead of just filming straight through, like taking pieces of certain things and putting multi-locations together. And I think I've done a lot of one way for so long, and it's cool and all, but I have the members only side where I'll put up stuff like that for them too, and I film everything, and then I just decide later what I'm going to use and not use. And winter don't stop me. It don't phase me. It sucks, right? It's cold, whatever. But there's like, it's my escape. It's my therapy. I love to do it. It's a great workout. Like there was like a foot of snow out there the other night. I did a live stream in the woods and nothing happened. I mean, it was as dead gets, right? But it was a good workout. Like I slept like a baby afterwards, where I might not have, So I don't know. As far as the next adventure, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, in the next 5 minutes. So I kind of just
wild and free, baby. Wild and free. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. I know you got kids too. I know my kid's on winter break.
Everything
So
hinges off them, right? Everything
exactly.
everything hinges off them, and then I get to decide. So that's why I never know.
Yeah, I know. That's we got to put, we got priorities, okay, but we always make time for the Bigfooting. And I'll be doing some myself this week, and I can't wait. So it's always a good time. I've had a blast with you guys. Brian's in the chat, like I said. Montauk is strange. I had so much fun with you guys up in New York. And yes, y'all, there are a lot of Bigfoots in New York on Long Island, okay, up at Montauk. I
Yeah,
can attest.
you saw it in person, so you understand it
Mhm.
now, but, right? Like, was it what you expected? I guarantee it wasn't, right?
No, I was not expecting it. It's luscious forest.
And then,
Lush forest. I said luscious, like lush
oh, I
forest,
didn't
thick
notice.
woods, deer
Anyway,
everywhere.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be down to you, I think, soon. So I mean, I don't. Well, actually, I don't know. We're going to the LBL. I'm going to meet up with,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna go. He's in Mississippi, but I think we're gonna go to LBL for a couple days. So we'll see how that goes. I mean,
Okay. Well,
you
well,
know,
watch your six at the LBL. That place has a reputation. Okay. Doesn't mean it's going to be a scary time, but it'll be fun. Okay. So
yeah.
you're gonna have a great time. And yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This has been such a fun time. We've covered a lot of interesting cryptids tonight and some fun conversation once again. Where can everybody find you in your YouTube channel?
Yeah, Long Island Bigfoot. I mean, I that's it really. I that's pretty much where I put most of my stuff. There is a Facebook page, and then there's some other stuff I do, but that's the best place to go.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys go to Long Island Bigfoot on YouTube and on Facebook, and you guys go subscribe, please, to Long Island Bigfoot. Mike, please come back and hang out with me again here at Space Out Radio. Promise? You better be
Any
back.
anytime.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, you be safe out there. Be sure to tell people where you're going before you go out in the woods. You better. Okay. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. You
See
all.
you, Mike. Have a good night. Okay. Bye. Oh my gosh. It's always fun when Long Island Bigfoot Mike is here. So I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Gosh, we had such a great chat tonight. And I want to thank you for all your support. You guys, please go over to After Hours right now. In the next 30 seconds, Rob G is going to be over there with our friend Dennis Carroll. So please go to there and be sure to subscribe to Long Island Bigfoot on YouTube, but also subscribe to Hunting the Shadows with Dennis Carroll on YouTube as well. Okay. Well, I hope I see you guys on my channel, The Cryptid Huntress, this week. I'll have a show Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern and one on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so y'all come see me over there. And thank you for all your support. Y'all have a great week. I'll be back next week here at Spaced Out Radio. All right, I will see you guys in the chat over there with Dennis Carroll. Y'all have a great night, and I'll see you this week. Bye.